is down, but they're looking for the killer blow. That's it, back of the end zone. Dagger! He's looking. Jamil's coming. He's moving. He's moving. He's got him. He's got him. It was caught, but Jed has called the sack. Incomplete. He called the sack. It's 2 points to the Hammerhead. An unbelievable sack there by Jamil. This is the last game of the day. It's caught and it's in. It's a touchdown.
That's it.
It's a touchdown. The last play of the game. The clock is at zeros. That's it. Your Swansea Hammerheads are advancing to the Division 1 final, having knocked off the 2 seed and having knocked off the 1 seed. Alan Young, you look absolutely stunned.
What do you mean by live? Genuine live?
Yes. We're broadcasting.
Hello, radio!
And now, a new episode of The Way We HNC It. Yes, welcome back to another episode of The Way We HNC It, ahead of a truly massive weekend of flag football. It's going to be cross-conference weekend in Division 1. The Premiership kicks off, and there's a lot more news from around the world of flag football for us to get through. My name is Bez. I'm going to be your host on this delectable flag football journey that we will spend the next hour or two traveling along. And my companion on that journey is, of course, the undisputed largest man in flag football podcasting. It is Mr. Stuart Anderson.
Hello. Hi, Bez.
Hello, sir.
Nice to be back.
It is.
Nice to be back. It's lovely to hear our voice so soon already.
It is. It is. So, and yes, nice to hear your voice once again back inside my little head where it spent most of last weekend. But
It did. It was really good fun.
It was good fun and nice to hang out in person rather than through the vagaries of the Zoom call.
Oh, yes. Through the internet. You actually sound like this as well. Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually what I sound like. Cool. So, yeah, you're cross-conferencing this weekend.
We are, which is
excited for that.
Yeah, I didn't get to go to one last year. Kind of a little hiatus I had. So, yeah, I always like these journeys. So, I think there's 2 this year. Do I go on 2? I think some teams do 2 or 3 for Div 1, which is a bit new.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Because when I was in Div 1 for my first year, there was no cross conference. Then we got promoted, and then it was always you played one at home, which was typically Peffermill, and then you'd always do one in like Platt Lane or Bellevue or some other sort of Manchester-y one. So yeah, this will be nice. It's different. I think I'm at Salford.
Yes, you're in Salford. Please go to Salford.
Yeah, I think so. I've not got the venue yet. I should really get the postcode for that. But
yeah,
I know I'm staying in Chorley and we're playing in Salford. Where and postcode wise, I don't know. I'm sure we'll work it out.
You've got a couple
That's
of days.
good. And then what's the other one?
So
the next conference.
The next one for you is the
Comets?
Gunslingers, and that's week 4 is cross conference, but you're kind of at home, as it were.
Oh, that's not too bad. That's good.
And then week 6 is also cross conference, but you're in Glasgow.
Oh, yes. So this is our only like kind of trip. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
And
I forgot about that. There was controversy about that, wasn't there? Because like teams are having to go to like
some
2
teams.
or 3.
Some teams are going south twice. Some teams are staying up here twice. But it's the luck of the draw.
Yeah, it is what it is. As long as you have fun on your wee journeys, get a wee road trip, get a bit of bonding, have fun with your teammates, and get away for the wife's girlfriends, boyfriends, or whatever, just for a day. So, nice. Have fun.
The luck of the draw. And up in the Premier League, at least in the HNC, we are off to a brand new venue for the Premiership. One which I am going to be absolutely insufferable about, if I can get the word out, later on in the show. So we'll get to that very, very soon. Got all that to look forward to. But first, I'll take a little wander around the hot headlines in the sport. And the number one headline the number one headline, of course, is we're going to stay very close to home, stay very close to the hearts of the core original idea behind the podcast, which was to limit ourselves to just coverage of the HNC. Obviously, over the last couple of years, we've grown a little bit. However, Team Scotland, the SCOF Team Scotland, Scottish youth team, which every time I say it makes me feel about, think about the kind of the wee Neds in the young team. Like every time I see Scottish youth team, I'm like, oh, that's just the best young team going.
Like a bit of graffiti on a wall.
Aye.
Like it'll be like SYT or something.
Aye.
Yeah.
Scottish young team. They are, as we've covered before, they're off to Big Bowl in Slovenia later in the year. Not Big Bowl, Bear Bowl in Slovenia.
Bear Bowl, Bear.
Yeah, unless Waldorf has moved, they're off to Bear Bowl later this year in Slovenia. There's a great squad of kids that have been trialing, and this is the first time that a junior Scottish team has gone abroad in, well, certainly under the auspices of SCOF. So they've recently set up a crowdfunder to kind of bring the costs down for a lot of the athletes. So you'll find the link to that. It will be in the description of this podcast. It's already on our Facebook page. They're almost halfway, and it's only been open for about 24 hours. So please, if you can, consider a donation. And if that is not something that you're capable of right now, given the world we live in, that's completely understandable. Consider just sharing it and getting as much attention on the crowdfunder as we can to try and ease the burden on the youngsters that are heading over to make history in Slovenia. And we're really looking forward to seeing more of how they get on at practice, and of course how they get on in the tournament later in the year. There you go.
For that. Yeah, I love Bear Bowl. It's one of my favorite ones. I don't know if the
Yeah, of
venue's
course,
the
it'd be,
same.
yeah.
Is it still the same venue in Kashevy?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, the venue's spectacular. The guys will enjoy it. It's like you go into the field and like behind you is just this mountainous forest. Honestly, it's so picturesque. It's beautiful. One of the things I always liked about this sort of Slovenian flag football coverage, Bez, and I think I've shared it with you and Andy and stuff, but there was a photographer that does it. A proper sort of sports photographer goes down, and there's ones with like ski slopes in the background at other venues. Slovenia is a very beautiful country, just to go to and visit, and I hope they have a lot of fun. And the venue itself is really good, and obviously they'll look after everybody that goes. It's a good one. I wish them the best of luck. The squads look decent. Obviously, I know at least one person from them. Jules's daughter's going, which is incredible. So after having a stellar basketball season, she's carrying it over to flag football. So she'll be one of my ones to watch because she's played with Top Gun.
Yeah, was it
stuff like that, like Winter League and stuff. So
one of the few to bring international tournament experience to the squad is she played at Kingball. She's played at Kingball.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just on a personal level, knowing the family, I'm really excited to see how Eva gets on. But yeah, across the board, it'd be great to just get even this. I've seen a lot of social media posts shared from like the Kings and stuff, with the youth team and trying to encourage that. So it's been it seems like a really positive first step to get the youth involved and to have something to aspire to get to.
It's awesome. So. It's awesome, and it's not every day that you get the opportunity to go somewhere like Slovenia. When
you're like,
so,
what is it? How old's the age group? 15.
So I think is it under 16?
Under 15 or under 17?
Under 15 and under 17. Yeah, there's two teams. So
you get to go to Slovenia. Quality.
We'll take that. We'll take that. Go to Slovenia, play flag football. Sounds amazing. So yeah, good luck to them. Obviously, we'll bring you a lot more coverage of how the team is progressing towards the big event. But yeah, go check out the crowdfunder. And if that's something that you feel like you're able to make a donation to, every penny would be hugely appreciated by us, by SCOF, and of course by the players and their families themselves. So while we're discussing flag football on the world stage, IFAF dropped their women's and men's national world rankings. I guess the world rankings of the national teams in the men's and women's brackets to probably, well, definitely, not even probably, our most successful Instagram thing we've ever posted. Kind of by accident. I got a little tip off from a source who knows exactly who they are, and we're very grateful to the source. That IFAF were going to drop their world rankings later that afternoon, and I was given basically a photograph of a bit of paper with them written on. So created the graphics.
That's how inside source it was.
Yeah. It was good. It was good. It was good.
That's great.
So yeah, shout out. You know who you are. So shout out. And yeah, our number one European source. So yeah, mocked them up, waited for the website to update from 2022 to 2024 and hit post. And yeah, that thing this morning was still getting shared to stories as far apart as Malaysia, Thailand, Panama, Japan. So yeah, it went pretty mad, to be honest.
It led to some interesting reading as well, particularly in the men's. I
Led
enjoyed
to
reading,
some
going through that, and then obviously the women's as well.
very interesting reading and some very interesting opinions on the calculations that are done in order to.
Who's got the spreadsheet out for this?
So I haven't yet created the spreadsheet, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. So the rankings when they enter a new cycle. So I'm guessing they mean Euros, Worlds, World Games. So sorry, Continental Games, World Championships, World Games is one cycle, but they haven't actually kind of said like this is a world cycle, but whatever. So far,
and then I've obviously got deeper questions as well. Like, what does the world rankings then determine?
So the world rankings determine seeding in tournaments.
There you go. That's the bit I was looking for.
So
things like the Olympic qualification or tournament seeding. That's kind of what it's all leading to.
I've got assumptions and I've got things to posit with you. So
okay.
So
I'll be a sponge.
I've not prepped you on this, so he's just gonna have to take what.
I'm going to be the audience as well here. I'm just going to sit and be a sponge, be the audience, enjoy a bit of Bez magic for the next few minutes.
See how we get on.
I'll question. I'll try and think of questions as the audience would think about asking questions too.
Yeah, ask me things I haven't thought of because I
perfect.
want to spin it in my brain.
Yeah, I've got to come up with a content idea, right? I've got to give you a little bit of tinfoil hat. I've got to give you a bit of controversy. Okay, cool.
Exactly. Right. So entering a new cycle, nations that have participated in prior tournaments receive ratings weighted on a sliding scale between 1,500 points and 1,100 points based on success in those tournaments. So basically that's to cover if you're the number one team in the world at the end of a cycle, you'll be ranked as the number one team at the beginning of the new one. Makes sense, right? Until proven otherwise, you're the best team in the world. Fine. How that sliding scale breaks down into like if you are the fifth best team in the world, how many points is that? No idea, right?
Doesn't say.
But for example, in the women's rankings in 2023, the World Games semi-finalists, USA, Mexico, Panama, and Austria carried 1,500 weighted points. At the other end of the scale, Finland and Chile, the 17th and 18th placed nations at the 2021 World Championships, carried 1,100 weighted points. So it's somewhere in there, basically. If you were, in a medal match at the World Games, 1,500. If you were the last place teams at the championships, the World Championships, right at the bottom. Fine, right. Each new team entering competition receives a default rating of 1,000 points. So, for example, Ireland, who were playing in their first Euros, would have been given 1,000 points, I reckon, right?
You would think so.
So, in a competition, if you win, 400 points. If you lose, minus 400 points, and no one gets anything for a draw. That's then added to the points you already have banked. This is where it starts to get interesting. Once all games are completed, a team's subtotal is calculated and divided by the number of games played. A nation's original...
That's where the odd numbers come from then.
Yeah. A nation's original own weighted rating points for that year are then added to provide a final total for the tournament. So, if you play, to make it easy, if you play 10 games, you win 5 and lose 5, right? That means you're going to have earned 0 points. Yeah.
Yeah, because it offsets with how many points you get for a win versus how many you get for a loss.
Actually, that's a bad example because so say you win 6, right? And you lose 4.
Lose 4.
Right. So that means you're plus 400. 400 by those 10 games that you've played would then be 40. So it's that 40 added to whatever you were already on at the start of the tournament. So if you're a brand new team, you're now on 1,040 points. Additional points are then awarded for winning gold, silver, bronze, finishing 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th at the IFAF Flag Football World Championships. Additional points are awarded for winning gold, silver, bronze, or 4th at the Continental Championships or the World Games. So just to kind of clarify it, bronze at the World Championships is 750 points. Gold at the Continental Games, the Euros, for example, is 700. So basically they're saying winning your continent is basically as good as, is better than 4th at Worlds, but not as good as winning a medal. Because coming 4th at the Worlds is 600. Teams that do not participate in IFAF championships are docked 500 points that competition year to ensure nations do not hold an inflated points rating by not competing.
Okay. I guess we would be impacted by that, right?
So, yeah, so GB on both sides would still be impacted by that from 2021 Worlds.
That's so I wondered when I read that because that means that GB would be above Japan in the women's.
Yeah.
If you deducted 500, so that would have
so if
GB third.
400. So if you
added
400,
sorry.
Yeah. If they'd only earned 400 points, I mean it's hard because you don't know like how well they would have done.
You couldn't obviously.
No,
Hypothetically, though,
the gap between Great Britain and Japan is 256 points. Yeah. So you would think
just
that
looking back, what is the impact of us not going to that? If for the women, it's one place potentially.
For women, it's probably being 3rd in the world rather than 4th. For the men, even if you only added 400 points on it, they were docked and said they didn't win anything and they didn't earn any other points, just the 400 that they were docked.
About 11 or 12.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would put them potentially 12th around New Zealand.
Yeah, so up a few, up 3, 4 places, something like that.
Yeah,
so
potentially.
It's obviously had an impact. It's not massive, but it's just we always talk about that when it happened, and there was a lot of controversy about it, and we always did wonder at that time what is the implications of that, and there was a lot of skepticism and stuff.
Potentially the implication of that now is, depending on the number of groups, will depend if in the men's especially, Britain are the 2nd or 3rd seed, as it were, in a given pot. If there's 6 groups, that means you would expect, as 15, you would expect GB to be in that group of 3rd kind of tier balls that come out.
Yeah.
If it's groups of 8, if it's 8 groups, then 2nd. So, but that depends on the number of teams that enter the competition, enter the Worlds, and all that kind of stuff. In the men's, there are currently 38 teams with ranking points ranging from the USA with 4,893, which is, if you don't lose a game since the pandemic, you get loads of points, and Slovakia on 1,717. On the women's side, USA 4,783, all the way down to South Korea on 1,680. And there are 30 teams on the women's side that currently hold ranking points there.
For Ellie, then, if we're taking these rankings, just again speaking hypothetically as an audience, how many teams are going to the Olympics? Has that been confirmed?
So nothing's been confirmed. However, if you
you'll have to get these rankings will play their part, right?
If you look at other sports, with the exception of football, soccer, generally speaking, team sports are 12-team tournaments. So instinctively, people would say, okay, you've got to be in the top 12 to qualify. However, the thing about the Olympics is one of the criteria you have to meet is to prove that it is a international sport. So if there are 12 teams available, 12 spaces available, the hosting nation is guaranteed one of them, which is the USA. Now, yes, they would have qualified anyway. However, they are guaranteed a spot and do not have to go through formal qualification. That leaves 11. However, at the Olympics, in every event, every continent has to be represented. Now, in the top 12 of the men's, the noticeable, obviously missing continent there is Africa. Okay. And depending on where the line on the map is drawn, potentially South America too. Like, I don't know if I genuinely don't know if Panama counts as a North American team, a North American nation in the eyes of the IOC, or a South American nation. But potentially that's 2 spots that will be given to teams that are ranked outside the top 12. Right. So the way to think about it is 5 continental champions and then 7 extra spots as a free-for-all. So I think that realistically, in order to absolutely guarantee yourself a spot at the Olympics and avoid the vagaries of lower ranked teams being put in just because of where they are in the world, you gotta be top 8. Like, you've got to be top 8.
This is what started me thinking along that question for you, because obviously basketball's 12.
Yeah, 12 teams of 12, right?
24, because 12 women, 12 men's in the sport. And that got me thinking, when you talk about your standings, then if you look at obviously the women, USA, Mexico, Japan, GB, Austria, Spain, Panama, Germany, Canada, Australia, France, Italy. That's just not thinking about continents or anything like that. Just those are your top 12 nations. Fine. It's the GB men, which get me, USA, Mexico, Germany. Good job, guys. Austria, Thailand, Italy, Panama, Israel, Japan, France, Denmark, and New Zealand. And obviously missing out are Canada, Switzerland, and GB, which are your 13, 14, 15. So realistically for GB then, Bez, how well do we have to perform at the next event to have enough points to put us into a position with Israel?
I haven't done like the proper maths on it.
That's for another time. We can think about it before the Worlds.
In my head, if you want to say that you're top 8 in the world, obviously at the World Championships, you need to finish top 8.
Yep.
But then to keep the ranking points ticking over, you've got to be in a medal match in your continentals. Like, you've got to be top 4. You've got to be top 4 at home, and you've got to be top 8 in the world.
There's a while to go before the Olympics, so it's
there's another cycle at least to go.
But at least we've got something to aspire to. We've got like a target now. Like, we know that's where we need to get. We know we're 15. That's cool. What do we now do to get there? And where do we need to finish to make sure we pursue in the right direction? So I think it's really good. I think this coming out is giving everyone from the women's and men's a real target, something to aspire to now, and performance related. If this is what they want to accomplish, they can now go, hey, and the Worlds, we need to at least, what was it, 8th to get points, you said? I think it was 8th, I think you said.
So everyone will get points based on their win-loss record.
Oh, so you get points based on win-loss, because we said that, because you get points for wins and losses or none if you tie.
If you come top 8, you get additional points.
Okay. So that's probably what they're looking for then, because you're going to have to.
You're going to need those additional. You're going to need those additional points to bump yourself up.
Yeah, and then take points off the teams that you play, particularly the ones ahead of you, like Switzerland, Canada, New Zealand, Denmark, France.
And you've got to be top 4 to earn bonus points in your continentals.
Tough in the Worlds, but
so that's in your continentals. Okay. So that's like in the Euros. Only the top 4 get bonus points.
Okay.
So
it's achievable. The women look in a really good position, though. Like, that's so exciting for them.
Women look like they're in a good spot.
Yeah.
But what's weird, like what's chaotic about it is if that like currently there's no African teams ranked, right? So
but they were planning to, weren't they?
They were planning on adding them to the Euros, but it never.
It was the Euros, and it was like Nigeria,
Cameroon.
But obviously they've got awareness of it, of doing it.
It was visas, I think, in the end.
So there was an opportunity for them to still compete and still be that African nation for the Olympics.
But what that means is, though, like if they come in and say they're ranked in the 20s, right? Say they're ranked in the 20s in the men's, right? That means New Zealand are out. Well, no, potentially it doesn't, because they're the highest.
They're oceanic or whatever.
So then what that would mean right now is that Denmark are out in favor
to facilitate a Cameroon or Nigeria or something.
Yeah, or crazy. give South African sport 5 years and a bunch of money. Like, I'm sure they'll be involved somewhere. But it's like something like that will happen, and people will not be happy about it. But like, that's the format of the Olympics. It's the IOC's party. They make the rules. If you want to be in it, you play by their rules. So I think to keep yourself out of that like potential nightmare scenario of being 10th or 11th in the world and not going, you got to be top 8. Like, you've got to be top 8, because looking at that, we've got USA, Mexico. That's fine. Call that North America. Panama, depending on if they call it North or South America, that could maybe be. But if that's North America, then there's no South America either, which means France are punted out. And the next South American country is Brazil, who are the 19th ranked team in the world. So you could lose 2 like powerhouses of European flag just to satisfy that rule. And that is not a position that anybody wants to be in.
No, the only thing I always compare it, because again, I'm more of a basketball guy. The only thing I can compare it to is the basketball teams for the Olympics. That's wild. Like, Spain are not auto qualified, but South Sudan are. Luka Doncic and Slovenia didn't make it either. They were 5-3. Spain were 3-2. They're not going through because of the 12 teams. So it's currently Australia, Serbia, Germany, Japan, USA, Canada, South Sudan, and France, with still a play-in tournament to go this July. But Spain are not going. Spain collectively over the years are one of the teams that Pau Gasol used to really run them. It's interesting when, if you think about it from our flag perspective, there's 100% going to be an upset. There's going to be a nation there that are really peeved that they're not going to make, aren't they? So I think it's exciting. That's why I loved that when that came out. But I was like, for anyone that's interested remotely in flag, not just within the HNC in Scotland, but have a global more interest in it to what we can do as a sport. It's so interesting reading into that stuff. If you're into it.
It's been a conversation starter. Like, it's been a conversation point. So like, people, let us know. What do you think? What do you think of the, what do you think of the ranking system? Who do you think will be making moves? Like, there was a comment that was in the IFAF article when they posted it that was like, some teams are going to think they should be ranked above others, and we will settle it on the pitch. in August. It was like so sick. Like it was like
I read that.
it was
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
proper,
And it was like, I hope you bring the same energy and stuff.
yeah.
Seen that.
Yeah, see you.
Oh, I love it.
Like, and that's from like the IFAF like official channel. They're just like, yeah, you bring that. If you think that, you bring that. You pack that in your suitcase.
Yeah, bring it with you to the table. Let's see it on the
So,
field then.
yeah,
That's great. I love that. It's going to bring so much fire to the sport now, I think. And I think it just gives us better awareness, especially obviously this is the next stages to what is Olympic qualification? What's that now going to look like? This is the start of the process. It's cool, man. I mean, I'm more interested like, my own sports like badminton and like basketball, and these are my type of sport I would typically watch at the Olympics and how you qualify for those. But to see how flag football is going to do it, and because obviously we've got a common interest in it.
it'll be
It's another one to add to the wee list. Things to look out for if you're into sport in general.
Interesting.
It'll
Very
be fun.
interesting. So yeah, let us know in the comments or drop the page a message if you've got any thoughts about how the rankings have shaken up, and how you think things will change by this time next year. So moving on the subject of announcements, we were able to formally announce the Silver Lions squad for King Bowl, and obviously King Bowl have just released their groups. This is already a packed show, so we will do a proper King Bowl chat later on before the tournament. But it is always nice to highlight those from the kind of UK community that have stepped up to the Silver Lions plate after I believe around 200 applicants to go to trials. There was a lucky group that were selected and have then been cut down to this traveling squad to go to King Bowl. Squad is larger than just this, so there may be some changes as we go forward towards the other tournaments that are entered kind of by the Lions. Obviously Pink Bowl, Flag and New Year, kind of later. So yeah, congratulations to Callum Dean of the Buckinghamshire Wolves, Glenn Fairweather of the South Yorkshire Roosters, George Griffiths of the Chichester Sharks, Isaac Harding of the Reading Devils, Sam Harvey of the Cheltenham Neptunes, Tom Holwell of the Reading Devils, Harley Labbit, every time, of the Swansea Hammerheads, Elliot Lampard of the Reading Devils, Ashley Lancashire of the Manchester Titans, Ozzy Obiozor of the Reading Devils, George Slade of the Manchester Titans, JT of the Reading Devils, and James Wilson of the Manchester Titans. As always, apologies if I got anyone's name wrong in the pronunciation. I think
some good names in there though.
Excellent. But yeah, a lot of new blood in there. A lot of names that we're already kind of familiar with. So good to give
lack of HNC though, Bez. That could be all their only gripe, lack of HNC.
There is a lack of HNC. I have been assured.
There is.
I have been assured it's because some players are on what you may describe as a flag do at that particular tournament. So they will be there anyway.
Why?
How true that is, I don't know.
Quality.
Well, I know that there's a flag do ongoing. How true that any of them
will tell.
How true that any of them maybe had the opportunity to be a Lion.
If only we had Dale and Paul on speed dial. If only.
Exactly. But yeah, a nice group of returning players, and also a lot of potential for the new guys that have broken in for Coach Kirby and his staff to mold in a way that they are going to be happy with. So good to see, and good luck to them, and good luck to all of the kind of GB based teams that are heading over. There's a whole bunch of them, and we will come back to you later in the year to later in the month, sorry, in order to chat through King Bowl on both the men's and women's brackets.
Excited and sad to do that, Bez. It's the first year I'm not going.
Yeah,
no,
it's been a while. It's every year. I'm like, I'll go back, especially now they've got the new venue, and I just didn't. It's not gonna. We're not going to work this year. Too close to some pretty significant life events this year, Tree. So we're
they are indeed. Yeah, we're kind of scuppered to our own company, but we will keep each other company this year. I think with all our personal ongoings. I think
we will indeed. So yeah, not gonna make that one, but excited. And the coverage is always great. So excited to see kind of how that goes. Which will bring us on to the main event.
Exciting stuff. Good weekend.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10 locations across the country this week. There will be BAFA flag football action happening cross conference in Div 1, and that's where we're going to start. So for the first time, we are going to welcome the South A teams to the party as they kick off their season after an unusual bye week 1. So it's good. Well, it depends on when you're listening, but good morning, good evening, good night. To them down there in I can't even work out who that is.
I think it's a Gwent Gators.
So
I think
South A is the Berkshire Renegades, the Buckinghamshire Wolves, the Buckinghamshire Wolf Pack, the Chichester Sharks, the Salisbury City Marauders, and the Victoria Park Panthers, who entertainingly take on the privatisation of British Rail as they try to get to Wales.
So good.
Greg is not here for social media watch,
Instagram page.
But we were particularly
we'll fill in.
particularly on board with that. So yep, good luck to them. Join a union and nationalize the railways. So so there's a lot of good stuff going on down south. What do you think about week 1 being cross conference?
It's odd.
Is that something
I'm not
be
against it. I mean, it's flag football's flag football. You've got to play them eventually. It doesn't really matter whether it's week 1, I suppose. I don't know. I mean, it should give you a chance to get the games out of the way. They're often the weirdest ones because you don't play against them all the time. So like having like VPP against the Swansea Hammerheads, I get to my knowledge, I don't think they've ever played each other in a BAFA league situation. So you're coming up against teams that you don't naturally come up against. So you'd probably feel more confident and comfortable playing teams you've played before. So to go cross conference week 1, are these teams going to be rusty? Speaking from our first week 1, we were rusty and didn't really know what we were doing. Is there going to be a bit of that?
So that's what I mean. Like for VPP, they're going all the way to Gwent.
Yep.
And their first game of the day is against the Hammerheads, who were flying.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it's unusual to see Sharks flying that high, but they were flying in week 1. And of course, the massive thing about cross conference is that tiebreakers are on the line. There's only one game. You win it, you've got the tiebreaker for the entire season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And having it week 1, it's not nice.
It's delightfully balanced with that. There's a lot of jeopardy, but there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, I think you're right. Would I enjoy it? I don't think I would care that much anymore, Bez. Like, and from my own personal standpoint, like playing, I just couldn't care. But I think if you take your actual flag football hat on and go, there's a lot of complications to that if you've not played any games before the season started and you're going right into play the Hammerheads week 1 when it might matter later on in the year.
Yeah, if the last time you played a BAFA length game was September last year.
Yeah, this is not going to be a nice awakening after your train journey from London.
No.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough ask. So good luck to those guys that are playing cross conference week 1. It's not going to be easy, but stick with it. It's going to be hard week 1, but hopefully week 2, week 3 you can start to settle into the league a little bit. There's a lot of games to be played this year across our league, so
there's a lot.
Best of luck.
There's a lot going on.
Not ideal.
There is a lot going on, and we've got and over on the other side, the Buckinghamshire Wolves are hosting their games. So we've got the Kings, the Sharks, the Frenzy, both the Wolves and the Wolf Pack,
Coyotes.
Coyotes. Yeah. Interesting to see how that one shakes out, because I can't see anyone really. If VPP can't get close to Swansea, I can't see anyone else in conference doing it, barring something I don't know, which is entirely possible, let's be honest. But Swansea looked so good.
They are confident, swagger. Like, you've got obviously Newcastle Blackhawks, the Sheffield Giants, the Leeds Samurai. I would have because of their Premier experience,
but no one in conference though. No one they're going to play really in the regular season.
Exactly. I just don't see Swansea dropping a game this season unless Harley is on holiday. Who's the backup quarterback if he goes? If there's things on. Yeah, I don't see them losing a game, but that's just because like they look so good.
Yeah, for sure. So if we start our trip north,
let's go
week
to the
2,
borders.
also cross conference is where we start to get into the North B and the Midlands. So it's Calderdale Locomotives. I don't know, Calderdale. Is it okay to call you the Locos? You've probably never heard of the team, but in the Highland League, there's a team called Inverurie Locomotive Works, also known as the Inverurie Locos. So if we can call you the Locos, that would be great. If not, Locomotives it is. But yeah, the Caldy Locos, quite like that. So yeah, called the home team, Panthers B. We've got Sammy Ryan, the Huntsman. We've got the Blackhawks and Panthers B. Sammy Ryan, the Bears, Blackhawks and the Huntsman. A lot of good games there, but not necessarily, the ones that I'll really want.
Yeah, a couple of the spicy ones they've kind of missed in this one. There's a couple of sort of mid-tier games, but again, it's only week 1, Besby. The playoff contenders might be in here. We just don't know it. They're hidden in the pack somewhere. Maybe after having some unforeseen losses in week 1, maybe. But yeah, I think the Blackhawks, you have them down as a 3-0 weekend still, right? Going 6-0 after week 2.
Probably like Bears, Leicester, and Coventry. So yeah, you would probably think so. Like we've got like in the Midlands, we've got the Bears at 500. We've got the Panthers, just with the 1 win. And I've forgotten which other team I said. Oh, the Nottingham.
Panthers, Bears, and Huntsmen. They've all got 1 win.
Yeah, so they've all got 1 win, and Panthers have just played the extra game. That's what it is. So yeah, like the Blackhawks, obviously super hot start down the road in Sheffield. So yeah, you would think that they would probably carry that on. Interesting to see how the Samurai do.
I kind of took words out of my mouth. I was kind of leaning to it because obviously the North B is one of the strongest divisions, I'd say, in England or Wales or whatever you want to class it, however you want to define this. With obviously Newcastle Blackhawks, Giants, and Samurai. Yeah, the Samurai one's an interesting
both Giants as well. Yeah, so Samurai dropping the game to the Giants. Blue, and only 1 point over the Black. Kind of 1-1, a 7-6 game. Like that's always. I don't know. Like regardless of when those points were scored, the last 2 minutes of that game were epic. Like regardless. So what it's either because someone's either scoring and has the extra point to tie or win, or someone is defending a point, or someone is driving to earn the go-ahead score. Like, so, yeah,
not throw a pick, have to run the ball.
Don't throw
so
a pick.
Many situations.
You want to hold. You want to hold on to the ball long enough that you can score, not give them time, and all of that. So, North B, Blackhawks, Giants, Warthogs, Samurai, and Stingrays all on 500. with the Giants black team in 6th, and the Locomotives yet to pick up a win. And how that plays out with, half of them at Calderdale, the other half with the Honey Badgers, like the Waveney Wolves, undefeated, but they're running the Giants gauntlet.
That's rough. That's tough going.
Giants blue looked very impressive.
And Waveney looked good. I played Waveney. I think it was Waveney I played.
You played them at Flag and Ironman.
I think.
Yeah, they were in our
group. Good wee team, like.
Yeah,
we had a close game with them. I think it was a 1-score game in the end. I think I don't remember these things, but good squad.
So yeah, they'll be looking to continue their run at the top. The Giants blue, 2-1. They'll be looking to keep pace. Honey Badgers, a home team, excellent on social media, big fans of theirs. So they've got the Wolves at home, and also the Giants blue, so a chance for them to try and, that's rough. That's rough for them. First game, and then a couple off, and then 3 off. Really, 3 off? Wow. Game 1, and then 3 games off, and then the last game for the Honey Badgers of the day. For the Honey Badgers, as they only played 2, so that's a long day for them against 2 very good teams. And then the Waterhogs, obviously first year in the BAFA League, picked up their first win last week, and now they've got the Roosters, who had a very tough time all the way down there in Waveney, and also the Lincolnshire Longhorns. So potentially, I think if they went 1-1, they could probably feel pretty happy about their day. I think
actually we beat Waveney by a score. It's the other way around. I got
you beat Waveney by a score.
Yeah. So good team though. Should be all right. But again, you come up against any of those Midland. I say that North B, like that. Think about how much Prem experience is there, even from the top 3 teams.
Yeah, if the Giants are who we think they are, and having looked at the photographs, they definitely are.
They are.
Yeah, that's a very competitive division, and cross conference tiebreakers, we're going to say it a lot, are going to be huge.
I would see it's not by you don't have to even win a division to qualify for playoffs. So I would have Newcastle, Giants, Leeds Samurai, so far the Swansea Hammerheads. That's 4 teams that arguably could be your final 8 or final 4 in the playoffs at the end of the year.
Yeah, and it'll just depend on buys and lineups, and
and not many people would disagree with that.
No.
It's tough down there.
The Midlands are obviously.
They're all playoff teams in years going back. Well, apart from Swansea, obviously they've not quite made it up to the Prem for some reason. But Leeds Samurai, Sheffield Giants, and Newcastle Blackhawks, they're all playoff teams. They've all been there as well. It's not like they're new teams to the playoff. They're all experienced teams. So that's what makes this so exciting in Div 1 across the board. Is it's getting so competitive now, Bez.
Yeah, and it's unbelievably to know. Volatile as well.
Oh, there is.
Like we can,
like that 7-6 says it all.
Like, like to play a 7-6, and be able to, and then go up. They played so the Samurai score lines were 7-6 and then 26-36, like, and also 23-0. Like, like it's all over the place, and it's very entertaining. And that brings us to Division 1, Highlands and North A, something we're a little bit more comfortable discussing, as we know the names of players. So the Clyde Comets, back down in the first division, they are going to host for the cross conference for the first time this year. So there'll be some West Coast football, and then further down south in the game day involving you, the Salford Stingers. So we've got a couple of crackers here, and storylines.
There's a few good games in this.
There's a couple of good games here. So HNC teams generally only playing. Oh no, some playing 3, some playing 2. So Clyde Comets at home, they get Chorley, the Ravens, and the Centurions. The Silver Cats get Border City, the Ravens, and Chorley. And the Gunslingers obviously also get Border City, Chorley, and the Ravens. Do they get the Ravens? Yes, of course they do. Everyone plays 3.
Yeah.
Cool. Everyone plays 3.
Each other once.
Yeah, they're all playing each other once. There's no shenanigans going on. Whereas down south in Salford, the Killer Bees, the Colts, and the Mustangs and the Chargers will be taking on the Tridents, the Serpents, and the Stingers. So let's start in
the Vikings as well.
The Vikings. The Vikings are the Vikings.
We're all Vikings as well. Yeah. Cool.
Yes, sorry, I can't.
Do you want to start? Do you want to go Comets or do you want to?
Let's start on the West Coast.
Cool.
So
are these in order, by the way?
They should be. Yeah, they should be.
Yeah, they should be in order.
They should be. But
the first one is an absolute banger.
Silvercats versus Centurions.
Yeah, that's like what a game to start a day. So obviously Centurions are 3-0 after the first game day, and the Silvercats are the Silvercats. They're obviously going to be super competitive this season. To have that straight off the gate, that's exciting.
Very good fun.
I know they're both traveling relatively far. Probably the Centurions are probably closer to the Comets than the Silvercats probably are. Is that mileage correct?
Oh, I don't know, but it'll be close. It'll be
close one. Yeah.
Let's have a look at that. Let's get maps out. So
all right, you get the Google Maps out. Who's closer to the Clyde Comets venue? It's Centurions or Silvercats? But I'll you do that. Well, I'll do that. But yeah, I think the Silvercats, they're going to be coming with a bit of confidence. 2-1 after a game week 1. Who was it they lost against? I can't remember. The Chargers. It was, yeah. They'll come in with a bit of confidence, obviously picking up 2 wins. They obviously beat the Milo. I think it was like 48-47. They beat us, so could put points on the board. And where was the other game that they had? I forget the other game. Where's Aberdeen? There they are, Silvercats. Okay, I've not got their games up, fixtures. Where is it not there? I'm trying to think who they would have in the other game. It's not coming up. Because they beat us. I know that.
Gunslingers in a 40-minute half.
The first game of the day, weren't it? Oh, it's filtered by my team. That's why Silvercats.
The horrendous scoreboard.
Got it. Yeah. So Silvercats 74, Gunslingers 6. They got beat by the Chargers 34-12. Yeah, and then they won 48-47 over us. So they've always had a good sort of first week 1. Probably ironed out a few things. They got with putting up 74 points. And I know it's a longer game. It's not really a true reflection of the score, but that was the Gunslinger new QB's first ever game day, I think.
Yeah.
So that's a rough start. But I mean, there's not much you can take from a week 1, but
no.
The Silvers are the Silvers.
The thing about the Gunslingers is they are, much like the Killer Bees are, heavily leaning into rotations. Like they're swapping players in different positions every time. They had 3 starting quarterbacks for 3 different games. They are in full-on development mode.
Go play.
Which is fantastic from that player development standpoint. But it is going to make it, and it's a conscious decision, but it is going to make it more difficult to rack up wins.
I got speaking to a couple of the players as well after that weekend, and I think it was the first half of the Gunslingers Chargers game. I think the Gunslingers were leading in the first half.
They gave them a bit of a fright, I think, at halftime, but the Chargers,
and then they started to rotate, and then the Chargers came back at them. Yeah. So it's things like that they give you. The Gunslingers must feel like, we're going to get there. It's just going to be development time. They've got the numbers. They've got the right people around them. Yeah, the Gunslingers coming to this weekend. Obviously, they're playing the Ravens, and my pick of the week that I sent you, Bez, was obviously the game against the Chorley Buccaneers. Both teams haven't picked up a win this year yet, so I see, the Gunslingers Buccaneers. That'll be a good game for the two of them. One of them's obviously going to get off the bounce, or not. There might be a tie. Who knows? But I picked that one as the sort of the game of the bunch from the Comets, just because it's one of them's going to get their first win, and that could be just the confidence they need for the season. It could just be that spark that they need just to kind of get going, and just to get people playing and get that buzz about flag football. So I picked that one, but I mean, there's so many other games. Like Silvercat Centurions is obviously the second pick.
Yeah, so we threw up. I threw up
one.
on the Instagram some.
Asking
What
people,
asking people for their games of the week, and there was a couple from this one. Centurion Silvercats was a pick to start the game off. Frenzy versus the Wolfpack down south that we discussed was one of them. Hammerheads versus VPP. Just because one of these should be in the Prem instead of the Rebels. That particular poster anonymous, but I can see your name.
Was it me?
It wasn't you.
It wasn't me. Nah.
If I can use my weekly swear, I can read this one out verbatim, which is Colts versus Vikings. Will they click or will they fuck it?
It's so true. I'll use mine. We probably will fuck it because our defense is shocking.
So that's one. Wolves versus Giants ×2 was also one that came in.
Okay, yeah.
On the round of Division 1s. One whose name I will drop. Rob from the Manchester Crows dropped in that, of course, Ravens versus Silvercats, continuing the Manchester versus Aberdeen rivalry is a big one.
That's another good one. Yeah.
So
I think that's the Silver's last game of the day. Again, another good one. I mean,
it's the final game of the day total. This is the only game that'll be on at that time.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So that's good. That's good for them. Moving down south, to the Stingers. There's some games. There's some games here as well. Like the Chargers and the Serpents are the two undefeated teams here.
That was my pick that was my game of the week for me again. Is the Charger Serpents?
I think if the Chargers win that one, I think they'll be 6-0.
They should be. I think I said that in a comment.
Oh no!
Somewhere.
Wait, sorry. 5-0.
No, they'll be 5-0.
5-0.
If they
only
can
because
win,
they're only playing 2 games.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If they can beat the Serpents, they're going 5-0.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I don't think the
Bess
Tridents have it in them.
But if I put my bitter old grumpy man hat on, the Serpents.
Oh no, the Chargers are playing 3. Sorry, they're playing. No, sorry, they're refereeing. Sorry, God, I need to.
They're only playing 2.
They're only playing 2.
Yeah, I think that'll set the tone a little bit for the Chargers this year. I think it will give them so much confidence. I can't wait for them to have that. It's going to be so good for them.
If they're 5-0, they come back. And the other thing is that the Mustangs have the Serpents as well, and the Tridents, so they're playing the same pair. So
imagine if the Mustangs and the Chargers both come out if they're undefeated. It would be amazing.
Both 5-0. Do they play? They must play each other soon, right? No, they don't play each other for ages.
I don't really know.
So I'm just looking at week 3. Week 3, the Chargers are at home. So the Chargers have the Colts at home.
Yeah.
And then they have the Bees. So they're not playing. Man, like this could get pretty deep before they play each other. So they're not playing each other. They're not playing each other.
They could go 6-0 there. They play the Killer Bees. That'll be a good game. So Chargers could go as far as like 6 or 7-0 because they'll probably beat us.
So they're not playing the Mustangs till week 5 in Aberdeen. I don't think.
Really?
That can't be right.
Because they play in July. It's like the first one on Playways is Saturday, 13th of July, Mustangs, Chargers. I don't really know. I bet this is where fixtures this year. I don't really pay attention, mate. It's like, oh, you're playing this team this weekend. I'm like, all right, cool. Cool. I don't really care.
I've totally lost. I'm missing a fixture that I'm being too blind.
If you give me a second, I can pull out for you. I've got them here. So,
but they definitely don't play.
They play the Serpents and Titans on the 13th of April. The week of the 11th of May, they play Colts and Hornets. June It's the cross conference. They don't play Mustangs there. Killer Bees. They play Colts again. They must play the Mustangs in like back. Yeah, they do. They play in back-to-back weeks. They play them on the 23rd of June, and then straight away on the 13th of July. It's back-to-back weeks they play them.
Amazing. So this could like. Oh yeah, I've got them. Yeah, I've got them. Yeah. So they play each other in the cross conference games. That's what it is.
Yeah. So if the Chargers keep it spicy this year, all the way to June.
All the way to June. So
I could get spicy for the lads.
I could get very excited.
Oh, I could. That's the way it should be. I think that's good for them as well. You know, that's the way it should be. They've been building up to it for years. So
ended last year saying this is the year they have to make the playoffs, and if they go 5-0,
so why not?
I would be shocked if anyone threw away 5-0. So
yeah, my thing still stands. The Chargers are okay.
They'll be okay. The Chargers will be okay.
They are though. Like they're blistering. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying one bad word about them.
So
they're good. They're okay. They're on that bit that they're fine. They're going to win games and they're going to put themselves in a position to be successful.
To answer your question from earlier on, the Border City Centurions are 120 miles away. So all I did was put in Greenock and then Aberdeen and Carlisle. I didn't go for an exact venue.
Centurions will be closer then.
Centurions are 120, 2 hours 10. Aberdeen are 171, 3 hours 16 on Google Maps.
Yeah,
if you
thought that.
As we record this at 20 past 10.
Yeah, Centurions are closer to the Comets than Aberdeen are.
Yeah.
Oh.
Centurions will be in the HFC before we know it. Okay.
Might be.
Premiership.
Yeah. Olden day Prem, Bez.
Oh.
You excited?
I'm psyched. The Prem is back. Things are good.
Yeah, things are good in the world. We're back to normality talking about Prem.
Things are good in the world, and the season is still so full of promise because nothing has happened yet. Everyone's unbeaten. No one's won a game.
0-0.
No one's lost. No one's lost.
Everyone's undefeated.
Everyone's feeling great about it. So yeah, down south, South B, there is some absolute chaos going on in South B. Keynsham Kings, recently promoted. Cheltenham Neptunes were in the relegation battle last year, stayed up. They're playing each other. Northants Titans had their hearts absolutely broken in the playoffs by the might of the HNC. Sorry, lads. Are playing a resurgent Cardiff Hurricanes. The Kings then move on and they play the Phoenix, a team that have players that play all over Europe and in tournament teams all over the place. They're playing each other. The Phoenix and the Panthers are playing each other. Panthers also just came up. The Northants Titans are playing the Cheltenham Neptunes, who are obviously a new look squad, having added Jay Bellamy and Ash Lewis amongst others. The Panthers are getting a look at the Hurricanes. Hurricanes getting a look at the Kings. It's chaos in that South B. Absolute chaos in South B. And I'm here for it.
It is spicy. I love
that.
All of them are so good though.
There's like 4 game of the weeks alone.
Yep.
And there's only 7 games.
Yep. And wait till you get to like South A.
So South A, I'll just run you through the schedule for South A. And for those that are Instagram followers of ours, yes, I'm going to do it the way the original graphic looked. So we've got London versus London, followed by London versus London, followed by London versus Reading, followed by London versus Chichester. That's pitch 1. Over on pitch 2, we've got London versus Reading, followed by London versus Chichester, followed by London versus London.
Such a good graphic that you put up.
So
that's amazing.
I reckon that London are going to get the win here, but I think if London play well,
London might do okay.
I think if London play well, though, they've got a shot against London. But London are obviously the defending champs, so you're going to have to play at your skin to beat London. You know.
And the newly promoted London, are they going to cause any sort of like, upsets? Are they going to?
Yeah, and obviously London and London all know each other very, very well.
But the London that doesn't belong in London.
But then obviously there's Return of the London. London Strikes Back. Who have to go up against
the Return of the London.
Against, London, a new London. And then of course there's the Reading Devils, who are stacked.
Oh,
to the brim with quality.
Prime playoff potential.
Oh, I mean, plate winners from last time, and to be honest, coming 5th somehow feels weird for them, you know?
Even in this division, imagine like if you're finishing last in this division, are you still good enough to be in the playoffs?
I don't think you'll make it just because of like
won't.
the lack of teams, but like,
Exactly.
yeah, it's absolutely ratchet. Like, it's so good. So we're very glad that teams in this sport have nicknames. So it's the London Rebels and the London Smoke. Smoke versus Spark. Spark versus Devils. Smoke versus Sharks. Flash versus Devils. Flash versus Sharks. And Rebels versus Flash. The big question, obviously, is how good are the Rebels?
Yeah, is Calvin back QBing? Is Kenny playing for them?
So Kenny's back. Brian will be quarterbacking, as far as I can tell from their updated social media game. Also very good. We shouted out teams earlier on. Shouted out VPP earlier on. The Star Wars themed of the Rebels has been excellent. Smoke are obviously the class of this. They are 2-time defending champions. And until anyone proves otherwise, they are the team to beat in the league. Flash, expecting big things from their new quarterback, looked very good at Iron Man. Very impressed with how they played.
Absolute slinger.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how they get on. And again, Spark stepping up. The Sharks are in for a fight, I think. But I expect them to put up a good one. Obviously, they've had a couple of players selected for GB in both the men's and the women's. The thing that for me is the impact of losing Shorty, obviously, to his retirement. That's going to be big for them. You know, was the gold center at the European Championships, has been one of the best centers in the country for a long time. Hard dude to replace. In a frighteningly competitive division. So I'll be looking forward to seeing the scores slide in on over the weekend.
It's a good one.
Yeah, for sure. And that brings us to the north.
Let's go to the north.
Yeah, and there's a lot going on in the north. We've got the Crows and the Titans Bees and the Bandits, the Scorpions and the Titans, and the Revolution and the Scorpions. And then we've got the Titans and the Revolution. We've got the Scorpions Crows, Revolution Crows, and Bandits Titans. So we've got the Battle of Salford, at least. But the Manchester Derby is one to wait for.
Still got Crows, Titans, Bees though.
So
that's a
Manchester. Crows and Titans Bees.
Yeah,
it's Manchester, but it's not the one we really want.
It's not the big juicy Manchester.
You think this is you think this is the year that the Crows push them for the title, the division title?
No. Sorry, Crows. I love the Crows. I had no beef with them at all, and I still never will. I think
when you say that
Titans. I mean, I suppose let's lean into it. Yeah, I'll be bitter. The Crows. They're dreadful. No, the Crows are great. They're always playoff contention. They're super competitive, really organized. Liam's a phenomenal talent in there. I just think that the Titans. I think they've changed. It's a little bit. I don't want to I love Allen. I think he's a great quarterback. But since the Allen change in the Titans, it's almost like it's took that extra 1%, with talent. I think George Slade particularly, he's phenomenal talent at the Titans. He's such a good player. I think the Titans still edge it, Bez. If I get you put me on the spot, I think the Titans are still there. I think the Crows are second. Up for debate, who's third? I have no idea. I could take a stab at it and say probably the Scorpions or the Warrington Revolution, but
I think I went Revs, but I'm not confident.
Yeah, I don't see
in the bottom half.
The Bandits the Bandits probably not. They were good and they're an okay squad, but they're like, I don't know how to compare them to. They're like the Raptors of the HNC. They're good enough to be in the Prem, and they deserve to be in the Prem.
Prem team, yeah.
Yeah, 100% a Prem team. It's just you're playing against some of the best teams in the country at that point, and it's so difficult to, to get up there. But I think that the Bandits, Rev, and Scorpions will be the ones fighting it out for the last playoff spot with the Crows and Titans B. I don't know how they're going to go, and I can't comment on them. I don't know them. I haven't seen them. But the Crows, I think, are unfortunately going to be the Scott McDonald of golf and finish second. Sorry, Scott.
Yeah,
he won't be listening. He won't be listening. It's all right.
Never it is.
Nah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that north, and it is good. So.
There's a lot to play for. I think the cross conference is what's going to determine, I think, who's going to be like the playoff spot positions. I think who can they snag wins off of up north? Are they going to? Is the Broncos going to drop a game? Are the Silvers going to drop? Can the Distillers and obviously the Raptors lean back and take wins off them? I definitely think that there's at least 5 or 6 teams there that are playoff contention. All of them, but yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough in the Prem. It is. That's the stress and the pressure playing at the Prem level. It's been there, done that. Or
it is
that
hard.
A few years in a row. It's tough.
It's hard. And that brings us to the Highland Conference
division that matters, Bez.
Brings us all the way home, and we are taking the trip to a new venue. Murray Distillers, obviously newly promoted for the first time in their history, hosting their first Premiership game day in Whiskey Country. Not far.
Not far from where, Bez? Not far from.
Quite far from everywhere, but not far from where I live.
Far from where you live.
52 minutes to a game day, Tree. 52 minutes. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not setting up at 5 a.m. to drive down the A9 to get to somewhere in the Central Belt, like to get to Greenock for 9 a.m. Right? It's not having to leave the night before to stay in a hotel somewhere in the borders so that I can get to Platt Lane, at an idiotic time.
You sound excited,
the next morning.
You sound really giddish about this.
I don't have to leave my house, Tree, till after 8 a.m. Right? For literally the first time in my flag career since the pandemic. Since I left Aberdeen, I can leave home an hour before warm-up start and make it on time.
Yeah.
My coffee will still be warm by the time I arrive at the venue.
So you're excited for it for Murray.
Absolutely glorious.
I love it. I love it.
And you know what? Like, if I would love to know which road people are taking. Like, I would love to know which, like, Glasgow and Renfrew, like, are they coming off Aviemore and cutting cross country? Are they going to Aberdeen and cutting back in? Like, what are you doing? Where are you going? Let me know so I can revel in how long you're gonna sit on that shit road.
Us too.
Yeah, have to mark this one as explicit. But,
yeah.
Like, I make no apologies for how I feel. I make no apologies for this. I hope that everyone arrives.
That took forever. And you're like, did it? That took you how long? That's a shame.
Did it? And if anybody takes the coward's way out and gets a hotel, not having that.
I better be quiet.
Not having that.
I've got a hotel.
Cross conference is different. Cross conference is different. If you're coming from the Central Belt and you're getting a hotel to stay over the night before, shame on you. Shame on you. Yes, I hope it. Like, the A9 is horrendous. It's horrible. People are idiots. So I hope that everyone
please drive safe, everybody.
I hope everyone gets there safely, and it's and there's no incidents, no accidents. It's smooth driving for everyone, and the weather is good. But yeah, enjoy that alarm clock, because I will not have
A9
one.
sucks, man.
A9 does suck, because I will not have an alarm clock, Tree. I'll just wake up with the birds in the garden tweeting. and the coffee aroma. Oh, it's going to be a great
You
day.
just
There is
swan along and
there
turn
is
up.
there is nothing about the idea of driving less than 1 hour to a game day that can wipe the smile off my face. We could lose both games and it wouldn't even matter because I'd be like, well, I'll be home in an hour. You know,
That was like me when I used to play at Lumpen and it's like, oh, I lost 2 games. Oh, it's a 10-minute drive to my house. Oh,
just walk home. Like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so hyped. I can't wait. Can't wait. But yeah, so the actual football.
Yeah, football. There's football. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've already spoken about most of these games when we kind of reviewed and spoke about with what teams we're going to get on. But go for it, Bez. Who's playing who?
Brutal.
Oh,
Welcome to this is a welcome to the Premier League moment for Murray. Oil Cats, Edinburgh, and Glasgow back to back to back, 3 games in a row.
That's sore.
I'm delighted that you're hosting, but the schedule makers have done you dirty there. Clear, obvious, hands down game of the week in the HNC. The second ranked team from last year, Glasgow Hornets, taking on the bronze medal winners from last year, Grangemouth Broncos. It's their second game of the season. It's the second game for the Broncos. They'll have just come off after playing the Raptors. Glasgow will have refed that game and then come in to play the Broncos. So that tees up that is the pick of the bunch for me. That is two of the top 3 teams from last year playing each other in the opening week. Hands down, glorious. Love to see it. The Outlaws will be looking to get their season up and running, probably with 2 wins. You'd have to think they're looking at 2 wins with Murray and the Raptors.
So I think the Raptors. I'd love to see the Raptors come with an upset like this weekend.
I think they'll put up a fight. I think the Raptors will put up a real fight.
I still don't know about Paul because Paul makes such a big difference to those guys. He's such a talented guy like flag football. I'd be ashamed if he didn't play. So I think I don't know who they're going to have. I don't know how the Outlaws are going to start at quarterback, but if it's who we all think what's going to happen, the Raptors Outlaws could be a doozy.
That could be a juicy game, and it's the final game of the day as well. Just those two left playing. Oil Cats obviously play Murray, as we said, and then a juicy game as well. And the Broncos' 3rd game in a row. Oil Cats Broncos. That's the last game on pitch 2. And I think that's all the games covered. So Broncos Raptors, Broncos Hornets, Murray Distillers, Hornets, and Outlaws Raptors on pitch 1, while on pitch 2 it's Oil Cats Distillers, Outlaws Murray, and Oil Cats Broncos.
Hornets Broncos, oh best.
Hornets Broncos is like delicious, isn't it?
It's always the spicy, juicy, like it's gonna be chirpy. Who's refereeing it?
The Raptors are refereeing it. So good luck to those guys.
Yeah, Mark and the Raptors.
And you know what, right? And this is where I actually feel terrible because we say that Murray have dealt a harsh hand, right? The Raptors go from refereeing that game to then immediately refereeing Oil Cats Broncos.
Oh, for goodness sake!
So I wonder if
I like the Raptors too.
I like the Raptors.
Dude, that's horrible.
They've been done dirty there. I'm wondering if maybe there's a trade to be had. So the Raptors are refereeing Broncos Hornets and the Oil Cats are refereeing Outlaws Murray. So maybe there's a trade to be had there.
I'd imagine you go 50-50. Like you'd get Mark, Mikey, Scott McDonald, and probably another Raptor in there to do the Broncos Hornets. At least get a split ref crew.
Yeah, I think
imagine that's what
I think split ref crew might end up being kind of the way it goes. But we'll see how that goes on. But yeah, the Raptors from a refereeing standpoint have definitely been done dirty there, as Murray potentially have by the schedule makers.
I'm excited by the Broncos this year, just because obviously I've seen a little bit more of them in training. I think they're better this year than they were last year.
Good, but
are they good enough better to take it to that next level to the Hornets?
That Hornets defense though,
it's silly, isn't it?
It's like so spicy, like,
and especially with the talent they've just brought in too.
Yeah,
and talent is getting better.
Yeah, Like,
man, they're good. I mean, the Hornets are going to be good. Again, do we go even on a limit? Say if the Hornets beat the Broncos, they go undefeated the whole year again.
at the Hornets, like, if the Hornets drop a game in the regular season this year, I'll be stunned. I'll say it right now. Like, I know that
the Manchester Titans and the Broncos are the only two teams I would say could potentially give them a scare,
barring like, people being hurt or off or away or whatever like that. But like, this is like I've spoken with a couple of the Hornets guys before, and I've said like it's not really happened like the last couple of years for reasons on like both teams. But like, I just want like, I would love us all, everyone, to be 100% and just go at it. Like the Hornet, like I'm not like the Hornets, on paper are undeniably the best team in the conference. But
I hope we play on different game days this year. I'd love to.
It's just
I'm
nice
gonna miss
to compete.
watching the Prem. Yeah, I'm gonna miss watching the Oil Cats play. I'm gonna miss the Hornets play. I'm gonna miss the Broncos playing because you got to watch them all the time. And that was my favorite thing about Prem was watching you guys ball out against each other week in, week out. As you said, once you're all healthy,
the Oil Cats game day is a Sunday. I know that. Last game of the season is a Sunday.
That's the Oil Cat. Is it Silvers on the Saturday? I don't know if the Silvers are hosting on the Saturday.
Silvers host as well. I think that's a Sunday as well.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
It'd have been good to kind of get the Silvers hosting on the Saturday and then.
Oh no, sorry. The Silvers are week 5.
Be a different game week. Oh,
yeah, they're like 2 months before or whatever. They
had a cheeky wee hotel in Aberdeen. Stayed over and watched my boys play.
Yeah, so
I'll try. I want to come watch you guys, but I do miss the Prem guys. I've got a lot of relationships with a lot of guys and a lot of teams there. It'd be good to at least still come watch a couple of days and support you guys.
Last week of the season gets like is not quite as chaotic as week 1. But that's up in Aberdeen. But yeah, Raptors and Outlaws.
That's not too bad. I might plan a work. I work in Aberdeen now, Bez. So I could plan to travel up on the Sunday.
You could work on Monday, yeah.
Stay the night and then work in the office Monday just so I can come up and watch. That's not a bad idea. When's that? Week 6, you said.
Yeah, week 6.
Cool.
So
final week of the
season. Final week of the season, and that is what's going to be game of the week there, we think. Raptors and Edinburgh play then the last week of the season. That could be big.
Oh, that could be playoff and even like relegation thingy battle. Because the bottom 2 and it go into like the
bottom 2, yeah.
Promotion, playoff, relegation, fight off. They don't get relegated.
So you don't want to be 5th or 6th.
Yeah, so that could
get dragged into the mud.
Yeah, Outlaws, Raptors, Distillers.
So Murray play the Raptors on that day, and Edinburgh play the Raptors on that day as well. Oil Cats play Broncos. Oil Cats play Raptors. Broncos play Edinburgh. Hornets play Murray and Edinburgh. So yeah, it's going to be all going on. It's going to be all going on. And on the last day of the season, in Manchester, what have we got? We've got Bandits and Crows, Titans, Bees and Crows, Titans, Bees and Titans, Salford, Wigan, Titans and Warrington, Titans and Salford, Bees and the Rebs. So there's a couple of games there as well, which could like really affect everything. But
a lot of the playoff ones, yeah, a lot of these like final placement teams for playoff positions.
Yeah,
I think this year there's probably like any of the teams from 1 to 5. I'd arguably say all have a playoff aspirations.
Yeah,
but you think they all do? You know,
I think the second last week of like internal play is the one. Yeah, it gets
spicy.
It gets pretty spicy.
Nice.
But again, what's crazy about this year is we're going to obviously come back and do our week 2 preview, and like last year in week 2, Grangemouth and Glasgow play again, so they're going to play each other twice in 2 weeks. I can't
believe that one.
And then that's it for the end of the season, for the rest of the season.
Mad, man. It's like that. It's like that. 2 at the start of the season. That's it.
Yeah. So that happened last year, and they were the only 2 games Grangemouth lost. So they'll be looking to right that wrong, starting in Keith.
There you go.
As we add a new location to the map of flag football in the UK. So
here's something for you, Bess. So before we wrap up, and we cover Prem and Div 1, how excited are you? I mean, you might not be, but you might be to see that Playways now has stats for every player available publicly for us all to see.
So I think
I only noticed this today.
So it did do that last year. It's had that for a wee while. It's just my concern
more
about
accurate.
it is it's really dependent on individual teams. So it's really, really good if
Yeah.
everyone puts it in. So
But I don't think everyone's putting it in though.
So
I
yeah,
think the league's putting it in.
so that would be different. But historically, there's been teams that don't do it. So for example, I think it was last year, basically South A last year didn't do it at all, right? So
Right.
you're like, right, how can you possibly work out who's having a statistically incredible season and try and give
Wonder if
out
they're all
daft
getting-
awards to people? But if they're all going to be there,
I wonder who's putting them into the system then.
because I don't think you're like,
Maybe I'm just feeling the Jimmy Thompson effect where he just loves stats.
because I don't think that, I don't think my number is assigned to me. And if I wear someone else's jersey on the game day, that's fine. But it would be like if I wore Greg's shirt because I forgot mine, he's 20. All my stats would go down as 20, but surely they wouldn't be added. It must just be teams getting good at it.
Who knows?
I mean, I'll be honest.
I don't know.
I'll be honest.
Fixtures.
I can tell you straight away just by looking at the passing touchdowns for Div 1 that the Aberdeen Silvercats have not done their stats. I'll tell you that right now.
There you go.
Because
who's missing is Jamie Bennett from the passing
because
touchdowns.
if you're in a game that's and you score 72 points, you're going to be in the top 5 for passing touchdowns.
There we go. So it is the teams that are doing.
So it must be the
I don't
teams.
know these things anymore. Come on, Silvercats, get your stats in, guys. It gives us something to talk about.
It does give us something to talk about. You're there though, 13 in 6th.
Yeah. I think I'm 6th overall.
You are
13 passing touchdowns.
You are currently
that was with 2 shocking games.
You are currently the highest ranking host in any statistical category.
What does that mean?
You out of me, you and Greg, you have the best stats so far.
Oh, that's because you guys have not played.
That is true, but hey, it's a good start for you.
I mean, you've got to be fit and playing. So was it your best abilities, your availability?
Exactly.
And so far, I have been available for 3 out of 3, regardless of performance. But I'm still my goals still stay the same. Like I still want to score 3 touchdowns per half is my goal because the short format, like the 12-minute half format, like Winter League and stuff like that. I normally go for 2 per half. So all I've done here is just go up by 1 to go 3 per half. So that's still my goal. That and then not throw interceptions. I think I threw.
That's
1.
a good goal for quarterback.
I don't play points need to be better.
I don't play quarterback myself, but I do know that throwing balls to the other team is bad.
Yeah, I think I got 13 touchdowns and only 4 XPs, which is pretty bad.
No,
but
it's not a good
I'm open to rectify. We've been working on extra points and we even had a playbook session this week, Bez.
Nice.
Which is good just to kind of get everyone up to speed because it's I think this weekend
again.
It'll be interesting this week to see if the defense is going to be better. They've had calls and conversations and change of playbooks, players coming in. So I'll be interested to see if the defense get any better for us. I think offensively, we should be fine, but I'm just going to stick to my principles. I don't really care what the result is. Just go for 3 and 3, limit interceptions, up your extra points, and then just see where the game ends up. If the defense means we don't win it, then that's all good. Doesn't matter. Just Div 1, Bez. It's just football. Just having fun.
It's just football.
Having fun with friends. It's just football. We ain't competing for an Olympic gold medal here, so who gives a shit? There's my
And on the subject of having fun, would you like a joke?
Bez, nothing would make me more pleased than to hear you tell me a joke.
The other day, so we watched some of the David Attenborough stuff on Netflix.
All right, aye, yep.
And it was one about birds.
Uh-huh.
And a couple of days after watching it, I got really into it, and Sally was like, "I need you to stop impersonating flamingos."
Okay.
And I really had to put my foot down.
Oh, Bez, yep, that's a goodie.
There you go.
I like that one. That was good.
There you go.
That's good.
Cool.
I like it. Nice.
Well,
Thanks for that, Bez. That was beautiful.
You are welcome. And
Really-
on that
really
note,
ended.
we will end the show here. Thank you everyone for listening. Have a fantastic weekend of flag football wherever you are playing. And if you want to chuck us some scores throughout the day, tag us in your posts and all that kind of stuff. We do love seeing and sharing them. So let me see how you are getting on. And if we are lucky enough to see you this weekend on a pitch or on a sideline, do come in and say hi and give us some crisp high fives. We would love to reciprocate. So on that happy note, it is goodbye from Tree.
Bye, guys. Safe travels. Bye.
And it is goodbye from me. Thank you very much for listening. That is The Way We Hate You. Remember that you can be sure to never miss an episode of The Way We HNC It by subscribing on whatever platform you listen on and ensuring that you leave us a couple of stars as a review. To be honest, we're not entirely sure what that does, but if you enjoy the show, give us some decent stars and tell your friends. And if you don't enjoy the show, then feel completely free to tell nobody about it. You tried, you didn't like it, but hey, at least you tried and at least we got here. And to be honest, you must have liked it a little bit because at the end of the show, you're still listening. Speak soon, everyone. Have a great week.